Oh, I have been on for a while. Okay. You're welcome. I'm Adaeze Feyisayo. I'm a guide, I'm a healer, and I'm a reproductive naturopathic wellness consultant. She's a creative entrepreneur and a lawyer also. And I guide women to heal hormonal imbalance, PCOS, fibroids, boost their reproductive wellness, also activate naturopathic healing, emotional fulfillment, so that they can, number one, reconnect with themselves, connect to healing, activate their creativity, and of course, co-create their dream life for fulfillment and abundance. If that sounds like the kind of thing you are interested in, stay tuned on this live. Today we're going to be talking, I need to drop this phone somewhere. Today we're going to be talking about uh, uh, okay, I think, okay, this works. Today we're going to be talking about low self-worth, and if low self-worth is the reason behind your risky sexual behavior. So you know how we do these lectures. I have a subliminal playing. I will pause it, but I have my notes here, and today I'm gonna be drinking tea. I'm gonna be drinking tea. As many of you know, I launched a tea brand last year, and basically helps women heal PCOS and fibroids naturally. And today we have the idon. If you check my shorts, I uploaded the orange tree, one of my clients' feedback, and I love that feedback. So go watch my shorts if you're not. If you're not subscribed to this channel, subscribe to this channel. We talk all things here, how to improve your health and your well-being so that you can stay connected to yourself and to God, of course, and create your dream or envisioned life. So I brew the idon fruit tea. Not only to women buy it actually, because it really helps with regulating the nervous system, boosting your immune system. I also have clients who are men, young people, older people. It helps great with cleansing your guts, and it's such a huge and wonderful source of vitamin C, vitamin A. Now, okay, so I was told that we should talk about low self-worth in the first few minutes so that YouTube ranks your video well. Anyway, so let's get into this. So you might be asking, low self-worth, risky sexual behavior. What is all of that? Let's talk about it. Now I'm just gonna first of all define what is risky sexual behavior. So February is reproductive and sexual and reproductive health awareness month. So yay! And I really wanted to talk about this because there's over the years I've been reflecting on my work as a reproductive health rights advocate and also health products and services influencer over the past few years, all the videos on my channel. And I reflected that at the core of it, or all of the contraceptives, all of the things we were trying as women, is we wanted to protect ourselves, we wanted to protect our reproductive health, we wanted to explore our sexuality without having to deal with STIs, STDs, and pregnancies. At the core of this is to protect yourself. However, many of us got in exchange hormonal imbalance, got in exchange rapid weight gain, changes to our physical bodies, got mental health issues that were triggered by some of this contraceptions, also had to struggle at the same time with partners who did not validate, who did not respect or honor one's emotional needs or even sexual safety, sense for sexual safety, right? You see how even with conversations with many women, even in relationships, in marriage, partners still have difficulties using, male partners have difficulties using condoms, and even in same-sex relationships, you also see that dynamic also. So at the core of it all, you see where when one has a low sense of self-worth, you really find it difficult to advocate yourself. You stick with the fear, you let the fear control you. I read a list of things in this video description, so let me just read them out. You find it hard to say no to certain things, both emotional things and sexual things. You do not protect yourself by enforcing boundaries. You don't even know how to set boundaries. And even when you know how to set boundaries, you don't know how to set boundaries in love, you don't know how to communicate boundaries, you don't even know how to honor them yourself. You don't even have a standard or a threshold with which when a boundary is crossed, what are you going to do next? Do you understand? You focus more on controlling someone else instead of staying in your power, which is what a boundary is. So you see that you may abandon yourself or your needs during sex. This could be another sign that low self-worth is ruining your sexual and emotional health, right? You might struggle with bringing up the contraceptive use. So contraceptive use now, I mean not just not just like your day-to-day pills. I'm talking about like use of condoms, both female and male condoms, getting a vasectomy, talking about that with a partner if it's more of a long-term partner. And vasectomies are reversible anyway. And so you say you might feel immense shame or self-hate about your sexual experiences. So if it's any of the things you struggle with, if these are the things that have kind of pushed you to just not advocate for yourself, to not say, oh, this is not what I want, this is not what I need, maybe this particular life is for you, and you should share this video with another woman. It could save her a lot of pain, it could save her money too. So let's get into talking about what is actually risky sexual behavior, right? So you see that risky sexual behavior basically talks about any sexual activity that could increase your risk of STIs or unintended pregnancy, right? So it's just really simple like that. And basically the factors that contribute to risky sexual behavior. But before we get into that, right, let's talk about what are examples of risky sexual behavior. I've already mentioned a few. For example, having sex without condom, having sex with multiple partners with or without condoms, having sex before the age of 18, like chill, girl, chill, trust me, just chill. Having sex under the influence of drugs, having sex without consent, so your consent is not enthusiastic, you are not ready for certain acts, you might consent to penetrative sex, but you might not consent to, you know, something else, and not being able to say no, think you deserve to say no, or not being able to value yourself enough to say no, to put aside the fear and be like, I'm removing myself from this situation, even if at this point in time I'm literally pants down. And of course, another thing people might classify as risky sexual behavior is having sex in exchange for money or for compensation. So factors that contribute to risky sexual behavior off the bat, I can think of harmful traditional practices, right? You see, for example, in my home country, conversations like, oh, if a girl goes to a guy's house, he's consenting to have sex. What does that even mean? Do you know what I mean? What does that mean? That's a harmful traditional practice. You could see another harmful traditional practice where people are thought to feel shame around sex because of strict or religious or cultural beliefs. We're also seeing things like low income could push one could feel, oh, I can't even afford, like, you know, a condom, I can't afford to be on a day-to-day pill, I can't afford to be on a hormone patch, you know, things like that. You also see other things that could lead to risky sexual behavior, and the most common one is lack of awareness about sexual health, right? Many people just don't know, oh, I'm drinking the iron fruit tea. So many people don't know much about sexual health, much about reproductive health, and that's why I love the work that I do. I encourage women to connect with their bodies. I encourage women and guide women with not just information, but with tools, products, services, to basically reconnect with their bodies, to heal, and to activate their creativity, to activate their gorgeous higher self. So that being said, we can see that other factors also include peer pressure, substance use, and, like I like to argue, you could have hypersexuality, which is a trauma response to sexual abuse, and also low self-worth. Today I'm going to be talking about low self-worth. Now, what is self-worth? Self-worth is your sense of self and your worthiness, how well you value yourself, how well you think you are worthy of love, worthy of respect, worthy of acceptance, worthy of trust, worthy of self-care, and yeah, worthy of forgiveness, worthy of compassion, worthy of empathy. So that basically is self-worth. You cannot have a good sense of self-worth, high self-esteem. Self-worth is also called self-respect, self-esteem, used interchangeably, right? You cannot have a sense of high self-worth if you do not have self-love. Do you get what I mean? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Okay, good. So that brings me to our next conversation, which is on, you guessed it, self-love. Now, but before we get into that, let's just talk about more impacts on your sexual and emotional health. So let me paint a picture for you. You might be stuck in a toxic pattern or a loop, right? So this is the loop. You try to protect yourself. So let's say you start using day-to-day pills, something that basically is injecting artificial hormones into your body system to regulate you, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right. Quite good and all right. And then you get into a relationship or whatnot. It could be casual, it could be a defined relationship, it could be a long-term relationship, it could be marriage, whatever. And you do not talk about what you need. You don't talk about what you like. You don't even know, right? You're just exploring yourself. Maybe you're young in your 20s, or you've not been active for a very long time or ever, and you're just discovering yourself. You don't know what you're comfortable with. You don't know what you like. So because you don't know, you can accept it. And because you can't accept it, you can't respect. Sorry, my alarm. So because you can't accept, you don't know yourself, you can't accept certain things you like or you don't like. And because you can't accept certain things you don't like or you like, you cannot communicate it to somebody else. And if you can't communicate it with someone else, number one, you can't build trust with the person cannot meet your needs. And at the same time, you find yourself in a place where it's in that very moment when you feel violated, where you feel exploited, where you feel ignored, where you feel neglected, you realize, oh, I don't like this, I hate this. And then you could do certain things. Some people cut off the partner, some people communicate better and move on, with the person. Oh, well and good. Some people cut off the partner, some people have to deal with the consequences of risky sexual behavior. For example, they need to get an abortion, safe termination of pregnancy. I don't know if all of the words I'm saying in this live is going to get this video shadow banned, but it is well. So some people would need to get safe termination of pregnancy, let me use that phrase like that. Some other people will have to heal off an STI or have to heal off hormonal imbalance caused by the contraceptive or contraception they use. In all of this, your brain chemicals have been releasing things like dopamine, like, oh, connecting with somebody, blah, 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 blah. This will, everything, what people are calling butterflies in your system, which is basically your gut's reaction to its sensing instability, because that relationship is unstable. If you do not know yourself, you do not know your emotional needs, you also don't know your sexual needs, so you can't communicate it with your partner. Your brain, your gut, your pituitary gland, all your vital organs, including your heart, your liver, all of them are telling you, girl, back up, girl, you're taking us into a gutter. But you're like, oh no, like, he's different, she's different, this is new love, etc., etc. And then you get disappointed because, like I said, you did not know yourself, you did not accept yourself, you did not build trust with yourself by respecting yourself, you did not care for yourself, you're not compassionate with yourself. When you disappoint yourself, you don't forgive yourself. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? So you cannot build self-love. These are all the things you need to build self-love. And it's with building self-love that you can then have a healthy self-worth. You can have high self-esteem, and you can have really good self-respect. Now, when all of these things are missing, as I highlighted, of course, you can't say no. Of course, you can't show who you really are. You can't say your needs, you can't say your desires to your partner, and as a result, you harm your emotional health. And you break up with that person, you think he's the one, he didn't know what I needed. You just assume that, oh, a guy who is being moved by the brain chemical vasopressin or protein, I'm not pronouncing it properly anyway, is being moved to conquer by his brain chemicals. He's being moved to get a result, especially if he hasn't done his own self-work, if he hasn't done his own shadow work. You think that person is going to care about you if you do not make it a standard, if you don't communicate your emotional needs, if you don't communicate your sexual needs, and this is a standard, you respect it yourself, so this person sees you are the first example, and everybody around you, they see that. If you do not communicate those standards, that person is not going to respect it. And so even when you break up with that partner, you go into a new relationship, you start the same toxic cycle because you don't know what you want. So you can accept what you want. You can't accept what you need. And because you can't accept what you need, you can't advocate for yourself. Do you see where I'm going with all of this? So these are the ways with self-neglect, you're not understanding your emotional needs, you're not even having self-awareness about sexual health. Do you have a sexual health care routine added to your self-care routine? Probably not. I have a video on that. I think I'll probably add it in the end cards or the timestamp or something, or in the description. So these are all the things you need to understand. Now let's talk about what is emotional health. Emotional health is your ability to, number one, understand, number two, express, and number three, manage your emotions that is adequate for your age. Sexual health also has to do with basically it has to do with the health of biology. I remember something funny. It has to do with your health and your biology in relation to having sexual activities, right? In summary. So to tie all of this together, if you find yourself in this place where you're exhibiting risky sexual behavior because you don't feel you're worthy of having standards, you don't understand your emotional needs, you are gonna need to do the following practices, right? But before I get into sharing healing practices with you, I want to talk about energy. I want to talk about energy with you. Now, first things first, everything is energy. And I want to give you like an energetic explanation to what is actually going on, what you're actually doing to your body when you don't think you deserve the right to say no. You don't deserve the right to understand yourself. You don't take the time out to accept yourself. You don't take the time out to communicate and set standards and then communicate them, and also respect them yourself, honor them yourself. You don't take the time out to actually provide your own needs, and by that you influence others around you because you're showing them how to take care of you, how to treat you, how to respect you. Number one, let's talk about energy, right? When you consistently disregard your emotions, you refuse to understand why you feel afraid, you refuse to understand why you feel excited, you just refuse to understand emotions, what they are, whatever. And if you want to know more about emotional health, I have a video on it, so you should check the playlist that would be in this end card. That'll be at the end of this video. It's on emotional intelligence, builds your emotional power. If you refuse to understand your emotions, you also refuse to understand and express how you feel. You also at the same time cannot manage and process what you feel. You are actively destroying your body on a cellular level, because our emotions are made up of our body's responses. They're also made up of our experiences. They're also made up of our behavior, like what we value, what we think is important based on the context. So those are different things, right? What you value and what you think is important. So we value survival, safety, things like that, good health, etc., etc. What might be important is, in this particular scenario, might not be you doing certain things. What might be important in this social economic situation could be you showing gratitude instead of you criticizing something, even though you have valid reasons to critique things. So that could be a difference between what you value and what you find important when it comes to your emotions, right? You need to be in a place where your emotional health, you understand how you feel, you know how to express it healthily, and you know how to manage and control your emotions. Energetically, emotions are energy in motion, right? And we see this because science shows that certain body parts of our bodies, they are places that also store emotions, besides our limbic system in our brain, which is the oldest part of our brain, and also our heart, right? And as women, the emotions we feel, anger, fear, also positive ones, we see how certain emotions, happiness for example, the brain triggers and releases certain chemicals like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, some that help with relieving pain, some that help you with bonding, stabilizing your mood, making you establish more bonds, and one that gives you this boost, which is dopamine, for rewards, right? Now, like I said earlier, some of this might be released when you are involved in risky sexual behavior, which can leave you chemically addicted to risky sexual behavior. Now, you want to be in a place where everything you're doing with your emotional health, you understand that emotions are energy. And because you understand that emotions are energy, you will not put yourself in a situation where you're going to put your body, your mind, and quite literally your energy, your soul, life force, your time at the risk of poisoning your own body. Why would you be in a situation where you know it's going to end in heartbreak? Why are you abandoning yourself to be loved? If you don't love yourself, nobody's going to love you. Everything is energy. You're not going to attract somebody who loves you if you hate yourself. People can't sense when one has low self-worth, when one has low self-esteem, and people oftentimes, narcissists or other people like that, are attracted to suck that out of the person, because you want to perform love, you want to perform, you want to do. You don't know how to be in your being energy, right? You don't know how to be in your being energy. And still speaking on energy, we talked about like how emotions are energy and how different parts of your body, for example, anger, yes, sticks with the liver and can block the liver's ability to send vitamin A to your eyes. This is why people feel almost like, say, I was blinded in anger. And even when I worked in a space where my anger was harvested and used as part of my job, I was wearing eyeglasses, recommended eyeglasses, which only started when I started working on that job. And now today, look at your girly, she's not wearing glasses. So, and there are other emotions like that: worry, fear, what's it called, bitterness, pain. And when these emotions stay stuck in the body for a long time, they can lead to health issues like reducing your heartbeat rate, reducing your blood pressure. It can also leave your nervous system activated, because your emotions work not only with your hormones and your vital organs, but also with your nervous system, your parasympathetic and your synthetic nervous system, right? They work with them. So it could leave your nervous system activated in a state of like survival mode, flight or fight, or even freeze mode, right? And then you see how it impacts your health. It could also lead with your cortisol staying in your body, which can affect your immune system, and which leads to autoimmune diseases or even stress disorders like IBS. And it's like, oh my God, ever since I started dating this guy, I have heartburn, I'm purging anytime I want to see him, I'm so anxious. Then you need to break up with him and leave, or you need to break up with her and leave. They're literally you and them together, because you have to take responsibility for yourself as an adult. You and them together are killing you. You're literally killing you. And it's so sad. Now, here's what I find interesting, right? Do you see that? There's the energy center, the solar plexus, your upper abdomen. That's the energy center that has to do with your self-worth, right? So the solar plexus it deals with your self-worth and your personal authority, your strength, right? Underneath that, you have the sacral chakra or energy point, whatever, that has to do with creativity and pleasure. Above that, you have the heart, which above the solar plexus, you have the heart chakra or energy center that has to do with love and compassion. I'm going somewhere. Below the sacral chakra, you have your root chakra that has to do with what's it called, sense of safety and stability. So we have a triangle just between your heart and your root chakra, your heart chakra and your root chakra energy points. And here's what I find so fascinating. Everything is energy. I keep saying that. Do you know that if you go and check the vital organs that are in this triangle, you have your heart. What's your heart? Your heart pumps blood, right? And your heart is key for your menstrual cycle. You have the upper abdomen. What's in the upper abdomen? You have the stratic region, the left and right. So you have your liver, you have parts of your kidneys, you have your spleen. You see your heart? You see this triangle here? Energetically, those are the 4 organs that help you have a healthy menstrual cycle. And I cannot stress enough how there's a relation between your ovaries, your pituitary gland, you have hypothalamus in your brain. That axis plus those organs, they are key, and they connect with your brain for you to access creativity. So you see during certain phases of your cycle, there too, your brain is balanced. Normally women use both sides of their brains more than men, but then during those phases of your menstrual cycle, your brain is even more balanced, so you have more power. It's why you seem to have more energy, apart from like your hormones driving you. You have more energy, you have more creativity. So the fact that you are putting those energy centers in jeopardy, minus the organs, or the organs that have their works they are doing, you are blocking your bag, you are blocking your joy, you are stressing your brain, you are teaching yourselves bad habits. Yeah, you're teaching yourselves bad habits. And I wanted to really talk about the energetic work of this. So if you feel your low self-worth has you, when you sit back and you do the exercises I'm about to outline and you think about it very well, you need to first of all ask yourself the health cost. I know how much it costs for people to get like to do a whole healing thing, work on their mindsets, work on like healing their hormonal imbalance, healing fibroid, PCOS, because all of these things are related to how you care yourself, not just food, but also your energy, your emotional energy. And I know how much it also costs for them to then work on themselves. And healing is a journey, right? It's a journey. So I just guide you. I guide you with my skill set, with my tools, and I guide you. But it's still your journey. The costs you will pay to be in misalignment because you chose not to know yourself, because you chose not to value your emotional health. The sexual health, the reproductive health, they are the manifestation of you ignoring your emotional health. Women run on emotional energy. I've said that before on this channel. Women run on chemical energy. That is food, the food we eat, the nutrients we eat. You choosing not to accept yourself, to love yourself. Yeah, we all have flaws. Yeah, we all could be better. But first of all, accept yourself first and understand you're a human being and you're growing. And from there, like, what is my envisioned life? When I look at myself, I don't want to be having heart palpitations because of any man or woman. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? You need to have standards. So let's get into the healing practices. I think I've chatted enough about the fascinating connection between energy, your energy points, your energy points, which is between your solar plexus, sacral, root, heart, chakras, triangle. I've also talked about basically the vital organs you would find at those energy points and the role they play in your menstrual health cycle and your ability to be creative and to build wealth as women, and how your emotional health, especially when it's poor, especially when you have low self-worth, can damage that. Let's move into so what can we do? I love that question. So how, now that oh yeah, I think a little bit of low self-worth is ruining my sexual and emotional health, what can I do about it? Great question. I love that question. So let's get back to our lecture notes. First things first is I have a couple of healing practices here for you to try out. And the first one is actually inner work from your level up strategy course, which is live on my store. The link is in the video description. So I'm going to be reading from the level up course. Let me open it up on my laptop. You know how we do our things in our class, in our classes. If you're new here, you're welcome. Don't forget to click the subscribe button. Don't forget to share this video with another woman, save her pain and money. Okay, so this is the laptop, this is the course, this is the workbook from the workbook, and this is your self-concept needs inner work. This is the chapter, right? Now, self-concept is how we view ourselves, how we perceive ourselves. It's a combination of many things. Your self-love is a accumulation of your self-worth, it's a accumulation of your beliefs, your ideas, your mentality, your value system. That is basically, all of that is your self-concept, right? And now in this chapter that's on the workbook that's tagged your self-concept needs inner work, the question I ask there is, or what I say, let me read from it, is what you think, repeatedly recite and say has the power to create new neural pathways in your brain, which shapes how your body acts and what you focus on. I've talked about energy and emotions and how it impacts your brain and how it impacts the cells in your body, especially your vital organs, right? So if you want to do the inner work to heal yourself, you need to create new abundance beliefs to replace limiting beliefs hold you back. At the core of a very harsh, critical inner self voice is a limiting belief trying to make you safe. At the core of a sense of low self-worth is past experiences that let somebody know that it's not safe to be or to say what you need to be who you are. So you need to work on that. You need to shift from that limiting, fear-based holding you back to be safe, but it's not really making you happy belief system, to more of an abundance value-based system. So the first inner work prompt I have for you, if you want to work and heal through this, is, what do I believe about myself that is holding me back? It's a very powerful shadow work prompt, and it's in, like I said, it's in my level up, your level up strategy course. The link is on my store, link is in my bio. You should get it from the workbook. I'll repeat that question again. What do I believe about myself that is holding me back? A very powerful question. If you want to start to know yourself today, ask yourself that question. On your journey to building your self-worth and your self-love, yeah, that's the question you need to ask yourself. So that being said, that's the first healing practice I have for you, inner work. Inner work, shadow work, is very important for one to build self-love, to find self-love, to develop your self-worth, to build up your self-worth. Is you need to meet yourself. I've said that before. Self-awareness is the first step of self-care and the first step of self-love journey. Yeah, again, I'm drinking my own tea, the Idon fruit tea, which is just packed with vitamin C's and A's and iron and magnesium, and it's super duper duper great for you to cleanse your gut, regulate your nervous system, heal, keep your hormones balanced. That's why I actually drink it, one of the reasons I drink it. And this is way better than taking any vitamin C medication out there, trust me. Let's go to the second thing you're going to do. You need to spend some time alone with yourself to build self-awareness. I've talked about that. And self-acceptance. You need to discover yourself. What do I like? There's the exercise I do regularly just to update myself on what I like. I list, what do I like? I list beliefs, qualities, values. I list to clothes. I list to food. I list to weather, temperatures. It's something I do once in a while, just be like, oh, okay. I'm no longer really feeling the rainy season. I'm more of a, I'm more of a sunshine girl. Okay. Oh, nice. You stay updated with yourself, and you know yourself. Why is self-awareness and self-acceptance important? It's so that you can build self-trust and take care of yourself. That is so key. If you do not want to fall back into toxic patterns or risky sexual behavior, you need to build self-trust and take care of yourself. Yeah, and I'm going to list ways with which you can take care of yourself sexually, right? One of those ways is, for example, is that you need to use a condom or some form of barrier method of contraception. I used to be an advocate of, it gives you a sense of control to use day-to-day pills and everything. But after having to heal off hormonal imbalance and just like how some of those contraceptives dysregulated myself a couple of years ago, and I didn't even realize it till I was off them, I will say, at the end of the day, condoms are just great, okay? But as female condoms or male condoms, please just have one if you're going to be sexually active. Another thing you're going to do is try and incorporate regular STI screenings. Now, there are different ways to take care of yourself. I talk about well-being routines all the time on this channel, but I'm focusing more on like sexual health care in this video, right? So another thing is you should avoid having sex under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Please. Impaired senses is not the best, and alcohol there's certain times of the month you should not even be near alcohol as a woman because of what it does to your body system and your skin. Like, how much are you really to pay? See, do you want me to bring out my calculator and just begin to calculate the cost of you just not valuing yourself as a woman in this world? It's too expensive. The skincare, the hormonal therapy, the medications, the self-work, the gym membership. I could go on. And of course, stay away from people who are injecting drugs in themselves and multiple partners. Even the one partner, you're not even certain if that person is also not engaging in risky sexual behavior behind your back. This as well. Consider also using PrEP, right? Because you just never know. PrEP is the prophylaxis. It's basically it protects you against HIV. Yeah, so PrEP is another thing I would also recommend too. So that being said, you build self-trust and you take care of yourself. I talked about taking care of yourself. Now let's talk about self-trust. You know yourself. When you say you'll do something, you follow through. That's how you build self-trust with yourself. You are compassionate. You understand that you need you could fall off your goals, you could, you know, get distracted, you could be a bit inconsistent, but you always realign yourself, because at the end of the day, we're moving through what? A life that we want to enjoy, a life that gives us joy, a life of abundant healing, a life of wealth, and a life of creativity. So that being said, the third thing you're going to do is always choose a healthier option. Always choose a healthier option. Is it healthy for you to be out all night without getting any rest? Is it healthy for you to be dousing and drinking alcohol without any water? Is it healthy for you not to speak? How did the kids say, sorry, it's okay. Is it healthy for you not to say what you need? You're saying I'm being shy. You're not being shy. You just, quite frankly, are being unserious and dangerous. Okay? So another thing is you need to also set boundaries to protect yourself. Like I said, if you don't know what you need, how can you set boundaries? Right? Yeah, so you need to guard your self-worth. You're not going to do all this work building self-awareness, building emotional awareness, paying for courses, paying for herbs and drinks, and etc, 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 and cycle syncing, you know, eating healthy and all of that, to build your self-love, to build your health, to build your self-worth, and you wouldn't guard it with simple boundaries. I'll give you an example. How do you set a boundary? First of all, you need to recognize you have a need. I'll give you one. For example, I need to not be around gadgets once it's past 9 p.m. because I have all the ADHD lists, but hey, I'm executively functioning. We thank God for that, and shout out to cycle syncing also for that. So I get overly stimulated. The sounds, the lights from the laptops or the phones. I do not appreciate people calling me past 9. In fact, the last call of the day at 9 is prayer with my mom, and that's it. And the rest of that time is just listening to like subliminals or affirmations or journaling and recapping on my day and speaking with God. So that is a need I have. I need to make sure that I'm not overly stimulated, right? So one of my boundaries is don't call me past 9 p.m. except it's an emergency. You see how I know a need I have, how it relates to my physical health and my emotional health, and I'm able to communicate that with people. So the last call oftentimes at night, if it's not an emergency from family or close friends, it's my mom. We pray, and then of course I shut down the laptop, except for nights when I'm in online school and then I'm really into what I'm studying, and before I know it's like 12 midnight, and when I start to pick my edges because sensory overload. My neurodivergent girlies will understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that being said, is you need to set a boundary. So that's an example of a boundary. A boundary is something within your control, not outside of your control, not something somebody else can or cannot do. You know, within, not picking, if someone calls me past 9 p.m., it's within my control not to pick the call. Do you get where I'm going? Okay, good. And I can pick a call once, but twice after, 2 times after you call me that way, I'm not going to pick. Okay, that is an extra boundary. That being said, let's go on to, you need to forgive your past mistakes. You need to forgive your past mistakes. I said you can know if low self-worth is ruining your sexual and emotional health if you feel immense shame or self-hate about your sexual experiences. You need to forgive your past mistakes. You need to forgive yourself. If you experience childhood abuse, you experience sexual assault, you experience neglect, you did not deserve that experience. And the emotions attached to that experience, they are not who you are. Emotions are only advisors. They only point us to what we need to pay attention to. They do not define who we are. Remember what I told you makes up an emotion: your body's response, your past experiences, subjective to you experiences, also your behavior, what you find important and what you value. So it's not who you are. Who you are is distinct, okay? So forgive yourself for mistakes you've made, for choices where there's some things I think back, I'm like, I really was in my early 20s and I thought I was living my best life, having casual sex everywhere, being sex positive anywhere, and I look back, I'm like, what in the risky ass stuff was I doing? Like, I was endangering my life. Also, don't even get me started on sexually transmitted energy, where you're just giving your creative energy to people because they can access. Girl, I have a whole video on that. Let me tell you something. Forgive yourself and move on. Be compassionate, okay? That being said, I think I would also say that you should have some grounding exercises. So when you feel like your creative and sexual energy are very similar. That's what I realized late last year. Every time I was working on a project and I was getting close and I was just really activating my creativity, I would feel so horny. And what I learned to do was I talked to God. I'm like, God, where's all of this coming from? This is so distracting. And Holy Spirit told me, stand up and pick up your pen. Then I was writing a book, my Niger Cycle Thinking Guide. And he was like, write. And that is creative energy. You waste it when instead of continuing your creative tasks, you are basically masturbating or spending or giving all the energy sexually to somebody else, or what you even focus on at that time. So I would say to you, you need grounding exercises that will ground you so that you can balance your energies when you feel that creative energy or pleasure energy, whichever one you want to call it, so that you can ground yourself and then channel that energy in your body to, like I said, activate the brain to create something that will innovate and give you wealth making like business ideas or actions. So if you want to work with me on that, like I said, there's a description in my video. You can go there. It's under the Get Transformative Guidance, the link. Go to my store, pick any of the guide. It could be a workbook, it could be a guide, it could be any of the sessions, it could be a guidance session, a strategy session. You're trying to find your core creative idea, whatever it is. You can also speak with me, go there, book something, and I can help you. I can guide you on how to channel all of these energies, how to activate emotional fulfillment, and also how to use naturopathy to heal yourself and improve your reproductive wellness. So thank you so much. This is basically the end of the video. Thank you for staying. This has been one of the longest lives I've had in a while. I'm Adaeze Feyisayo. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Happy Sexual and Reproductive Awareness Month, and I will see you on my next live. Bye, gems.